Hello there, guys, and welcome to my studio tour of 2019. I am currently in the process of working on a fine art collection, so I have a lot of work in progress, and it's all fairly different from a lot of my watercolor work that I usually post. I'm using different mediums, so you will be able to see new stuff and the studio actually in full effect. Starting with the canvas corner, I have just a basic easel I got a while ago, and I always have a few oil paintings on the go on canvas. I do keep just a variety of canvases around my studio. A lot of paintings do get painted over, but it's kind of a nice practice for me to just kind of work on a piece at a time. So right now we have this cactus going. My core workstation, the place that I paint the most, the place I film all of my watercolor videos from, is the illustration station. This is kind of a makeshift station. It is a kitchen butcher's block type deal. And on top of it, I put, with two vice grips, an art table. At any given time, I usually keep one more involved, larger scale children's illustration piece in progress up here on the table that I'm sort of filming as I go. The butcher's block has this handy dandy little drawer, and I will generally keep anything that I don't want displayed on the working table just inside the drawer. So right now I've just got my half pans and some soap and stuff like that. Underneath the table, I just have some bric-a-brac. I also have this bench that I generally sit on. Sometimes I stand, but I've got to hunch over a little bit, so it's more like a sitting station situation. One of my latest and probably favorite additions to my studio is this working wall, is what I call it. It is basically just a DIY project. I got, I think, a 4-inch piece of wood from Home Depot, and I just attached it to the wall with brackets. The thought being that it was kind of the perfect width to just put pieces of work in progress, like canvases and stuff like that. And now it has turned into kind of a little wall of inspiration. I find it incredibly helpful to put up all of the work that I'm working on currently and be able to see it all in one place. It's really, really helpful when I'm developing a collection to make sure it's cohesive, and so I can kind of have a visual check-in every day with it. And it also gives me somewhere to put it rather than like in a cupboard or more likely on the floor. I also put little, bits, mementos, crystals, of course, and other things that I love on this wall. And it has become kind of like a living display. It's also nice for visitors who come into my home to be able to see my work up there, and without me having to pull it out and have like an awkward moment showing them it, if you know what I mean. Moving on to the storage credenza, which is overlooked by this silver steed buffalo head type thing. This is one part form and one part function. I put on the top of the credenza a pane of glass so that I can put little bits underneath the glass and they won't get ruined. So on top, I've got a mix of plants and library books in progress. I'm going through a big Georgia O'Keeffe phase in the studio, so naturally I've got that. I put some old family photos of my grandma and little Jess and stuff like that under the glass, just to kind of bring, I guess, the spirit into the space. I think that kind of thing is really important. Since I am working on a little bit more of a soft, like Southwestern feeling collection, I brought in some turquoise jewelry, and I also just have some little clay pottery bits that I made when I was like 4. I have kind of collected random like little bits of rocks and stuff all of my life, and so these are from various countries that I lived in. Some of them are from Egypt when we went there, and like quite old things that I probably was not supposed to take. And then we just bookend with my lovely cactus Toledo. So inside, I did not clean this up for the studio tour, but I've just got bits of paper and collateral. I have a lot of pens and pots and things. And then these drawers are just like a mishmash of stuff. There's kind of a method to my madness, but not really. The main purpose of the working table is actually just to have everything that I need as I'm working on any piece available at arm's length. So I will lay out all of the supplies that I need on any given day, just in a semi-orderly fashion, and then that order slowly turns into chaos as the day unfolds. So right now I'm doing a lot of different mixed media stuff. So I've got my oil paints, I busted out my chalk pastels because why not? And I've got some gouache going, and sometimes I'll just throw a supply on the table and see if I pick it up at some point and put it to a scrap. So that's kind of fun. I have currently a still life setup, but it's also just kind of like setting the tone of this collection that I'm creating. Very Georgia O'Keeffe, very Southwest. I have some antlers from my parents' cabin in Colorado, and I've got beautiful rose quartz and some sage and, all the things that you need. And my cactus Esmeralda, my latest addition to the plant family. And finally, moving on to the far side. It's kind of the entryway of my house. So I wanted to make it a little bit presentable, a little bit nice, kind of neutral. I have another one of these homemade shelves, and I just have these 3 pieces, which are actually getting blown up really large and turned into wall coverings that are inspired by rock formations, actually. And that completes our working studio tour, just basically a 360 degree view of where I work every day. I love working here. Working from home has its pluses and minuses for sure, but it took me a good 1.5 years to actually get this place in order, and I'm very happy to share it with you. And so until next time, TTFN.